established our scenes. And,
right.
That was it's been a very good, cost-effective way to, again, play off people's imaginations, play off, their understanding of where we are in the story, but just make sure that the content and the writing and the acting is up to par, that they forget that there's no set there anymore. They just see that this is a story that they're following. So just been using those as my techniques, and been studying the game, studying and honing my craft as much as I can, and here we are.
Wow. So, I mean, you basically gave us a lot of information about where your creativity came from, how you come up with this stuff, which is great. And I so appreciate that, because some people feel like they need the coin, they need the money, I'm waiting for this, and not know how to step out on faith and make things work. But it seemed like you really honed in on your craft and how to express your craft in a way where it will be cost efficient as well as, suitable to your lifestyle. So let's get into Blended. Let's get into your new docu-series, right?
No, it's a dramatic TV series.
Oh, okay, dramatic TV series. Some people call them docu-series, whatever, but this is like a soap opera?
Essentially, yeah. So a docu-series would be an example of that. Would be like the new documentary series that's on about Tupac, Dear Mama. That's on.
I've seen that.
It's a documentary series about a real actual person who obviously is Tupac and Afeni Shakur. God bless both of them. But what I'm doing is like Power or.
Yes.
Like that. So you have these characters that are creative.
It's an actual creative, fictional type show where, I'm glad that this is coming back. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm tired of reality TV. I'm so tired of, it's good, but now that people marriages and lifestyles are fucking up, I don't want to know that really happened to you and this was you. I'm okay with knowing Erica Kane on, General Hospital or on, one of those shows, and knowing that this is a character. So it could go as far and as crazy as it wants to go. But when these reality TV stars do it, it's like, okay, you went way too far. I didn't expect a real person to do this. But I'm glad that we are getting back into these ghost shows and, like you said, Power, and these shows that have real drama. I want to cry again. I haven't cried. I remember I used to watch Charmed and certain shows. I used to cry I knew these people. I'm glad we're going back to that, because you really could tap into people's emotions and seeing what's going on. So tell us more about your dramatic drama, Blended.
Yeah, man. Again, for me, it's always about studying the game, studying people, studying the marketplace. And drama will never go out of style. People always want to see some type of conflict, some type of, just not necessarily fighting, but just how this character is going to get out of this jam.
Yes.
How each character is going to figure out this situation, whomever the characters are and whatever it is. And I love that, man. I thrive on it. So I do my best to just create things that I would want to watch myself. I like a good, compelling story. I like character-driven, decent character arcs to these characters and stories that I can either relate to or not relate to, but I just like a good story. So Blended, it follows the lives of an African-American male architect. He's secretly dating this Caucasian school teacher, female school teacher here in Chicago. And long story short about it, they kicking and having a good time and all of these things. And when they first start dating each other and really getting serious and getting involved, it's at the height of police brutality protests here in Chicago. So, and so in real life, a young man named Laquan McDonald was shot 16 times by a former Chicago police officer, Van Dyke, who was sentenced to merely a couple years in prison. But when that video came out, I don't know if you were here at the crib at the time, but the city wasn't playing. People were out protesting, shutting down intersections, shutting down expressways, Lakeshore Drive was shut down. People were not playing on the protest. So this story takes place, blended, it takes place on the backdrop of all that police brutality going on. And the protest surrounding police brutality is the Equiano McDonald shooting. And again, you have this black man and this white woman secretly dating each other because of that fact. Because we as society may not. This is not even just black and white. Like, if it's Asian and Hispanics kicking it together, nobody's really tripping that much on it like
yes,
that.
Like you don't belong here type situation, you know?
Ready to sick dogs on them or, you know, put fire hoses on them and stuff like that. I mean, like, no. I mean, people understand, hey, this is the world that we living in, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. So,
that's true.
But I think, like with blended, it's just like, I'm a firm believer that you have to start somewhere with story. You have to have an attention grabber in story.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh man, and the guy, Chris, in blended, like he is a South Side of Chicago black guy. You know what I mean? Like he is from the urban community black guy that dates this rural white woman, and you know, literally from two different worlds, and that's our starting point. But that doesn't mean that, you know, 2 seasons in, because they come from these two different worlds, she doesn't understand him, he doesn't understand her, and then that leads to problems down the road. But you had to start somewhere. So let's say if in the second season they get a divorce or they get separated because, you know, Thanksgiving he wants turkey dressing and greens and, you know, all the stuff that black folks might eat for Thanksgiving.
And
but
she wants green bean casserole.
You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just looking like, man, what the hell is this? So there are those different things that we can touch on within the series that it has to start somewhere, though.
You know what? That is so true. I'm not to cut you off. That is so true. I'm glad you are doing something like this, though. Really talking about race and that and having a drama behind it so it could be in people's face to see this is what goes on. Regardless of how you feel about the situation, he's still black, she's still white. And these are the reality. There's never been a show with an interracial couple and talking about their interracial life as a drama. If anything, it's been a comedy or something, or one show, one episode based on. This is hot right now.
Praise God. Thank you, man. I mean, because I just sit here and tweak like, man, how would, let's say, you know, for the January 6th riots, and we find out that this woman, the white woman's father was out there. Right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And his father, who was a black man, is looking at that like, man, but at the same time, this is the grandfather to your children.
Right, and that y'all both are grandparents.
How do you feel about that? What do you say to that person? What do you approach?
That's going to be a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, man. And then, well, what if the white parents find out that, you know, the black parents, the black grandparents used to be Black Panthers? How do they feel about that?
How they feel about that? No, for real. Or somebody granddad was a KKK member.
Exactly.
In the 50s and retired, but, you know, or died. And you go to the funeral.
Because a lot of these people are still around. Like, the Panthers are still around.
They are.
KKK is still around. Like, we ain't too far removed from the civil rights movement. Like, my mom can still talk about when Martin Luther King, the March on Washington.
Yes.
You know, she might have been a couple years old.
They was like 8 or 9, but they definitely remember when Martin Luther King died. Yes, that's true.
These people still around. Harry Belafonte just passed.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
yes.
Like, I mean, so these people are still around. You know
my grandmother, who is still alive, know when Emmett Till died, Martin Luther King died. They know all this, and she's like 89. But you're right, like, then you got this person, like, I mean, my granny hates talking about the old days, like, she really does. Like, my granddad is even worse. He's like, I don't even like talk about Alabama. Like, he don't. You know what I'm saying? But think about these people at the family reunion. And you pull up with Jessica.
Right.
And your 2 twins, who one is black, one is light. That's a conversation right there.
Right.
Like,
and I see it as a good way to, it can be a great history lesson for the shorties or, you know, for the young adults that watch the show, and a new perspective for the older people that might watch the show. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it can literally blend everything in between. So, very excited about the project. So what we did was for like the last year, or after I wrote it, you know, I would go to LA, fly to LA, go to different film festivals, and bump into certain people. You know, I won't get their names out right now, but you know, these are definitely so-called A-list, B-list, whatever celebrities or actors or producers in the game. And I would tell people about oh man, I love that. That's hot. That's woo. And but I didn't necessarily feel like we were getting the traction that I wanted. You know, I was very hungry and passionate about it. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's do this. Let's shoot what's called a proof of concept for it. Let's shoot the first 10, 15 minutes of it and then start sending that out to people. Because I'm a huge believer in the law of demonstration, like the laws that govern the universe, the law of gravity, the law of attraction, the law of demonstration. And the law of demonstration states that, I believe it states that when you are very interested in something or you want something,